3 years today. I've never been one to get excited about anniversaries, but it does seem like a milestone worth noting at least. And a lot has changed in the 3 years, but I'm not really feeling especially moved to write about it at the moment. Maybe because that would almost grant a certain power over me, back to it. And I have no inclination to do that. A light came on 3 years ago, illuminating a new truth for me, and it simply became my new reality. To regress at this point would feel like a denial of all I know to be true. The hardest part was the first few months or so, just trying to find new ways to spend my time. Once I did that, created new habits for my days, it honestly hasn't taken any effort at all to stay dry. I'd like to think that I could help other people with their drug dependency, but maybe not, because I honestly don't think there's much to it. It's simply a matter of deciding who you want to be and then being that person. Life is hard. It is a struggle. Some things will be harder for some than others, but it all comes down to taking ownership. Are you wanting to just let life happen to you? Or do you want to take the steering wheel, plot your own course? So much of what we do in this modern Western world day to day is motivated by external ideas that have been fed to us for so long that we fail to see that they are not our own. That has been most of my life. I was chasing ideals that were not my own, that did not serve me, or even worse, did not serve any greater good. The more that I stopped myself to deliberately ask who or what is any particular action serving, the easier it becomes to make better choices. We all have that little voice in our head, the one working to justify the seemingly easier paths in front of us. And I have spent the majority of my days catering to that voice until about 3 years ago, when I recognized that that voice was not actually my own. It does not truly serve me or the greater good. And all the self-loathing, so well known in our modern society, it is a correct response to all the gluttony and overindulgence we work so actively to justify here in the West. We should take note of our own hearts. When it feels like something is not right, it's probably because something is not right. To continue along that path of least resistance, ignoring my heart out of a suggested convenience, can only lead to more of the same. And it is a slippery slope. What starts off as a small betrayal of the heart quickly evolves into catastrophe of the soul. But the opposite is equally true. The smallest act of kindness, act of genuine, unselfish good, is equally contagious, and with the slightest effort can snowball quickly. I don't think I'll ever be free of that other little voice. I think it is necessary to give our lives meaning. There must be choice, and it must be difficult, or none of it could mean anything at all. Last night, just before bed, my 8-year-old son shared a riddle he had learned that day and the answer with this big, radiating smile. He liked it so much he asked me, "Pop, do you know any riddles?" I thought for a moment and said, well, yes, I do have a favorite, but it's for older people, so I'm not sure you'd like it as much. He emphatically said, "I want to hear it." So I said, "Okay, what does an all-knowing, all-capable, omnipotent being lack?" He stopped for a second and said, "What does omnipotent mean?" I said, "Like a god." It has everything and can do anything. And he stopped and said, well, what does lack mean? I said, not to have. And then without missing a beat, he said, I know. He doesn't know what it's like. No, wait, that's not. I stopped him. I prodded him. No, stick with it. Stick with your gut, bud. I think you have it. And he said, well, he doesn't know what it's like to have nothing. I was so proud and so happy and impressed with him that I wanted to cry. He had seen it right away. I offered him the one-word answer he knew already. Limitation. The omnipotent God lacks limitation. And without limits, nothing is worth anything. Nothing has value unless it is limited. So to have everything is to have nothing at all.